Hey everybody, welcome to RefTime, powered by RTS and produced by Coraggio Media. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Crane. We'll be covering rules, plays, points of emphasis, and all things official. All right, welcome to the studio once again with the great Cleveland Inge. You say it.
Mr. Cleveland Inge.
You didn't put enough J on the end.
J.
Inge.
Inge.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being patient as
It's
we
an honor.
butchered your name.
Hey, no, it was good. That was good. I like that.
Inge, though, that's an interesting last name.
Mhm.
I-N-G. Where'd that come from?
Well, I don't know. England. I heard it was England, and
Sounds
we've done
English.
the whole DNA thing, and
Mhm.
it's from all over the place. Zimbabwe also, so I
Oh,
don't know.
nice.
But England was William Inge, a great writer back in the day.
Mhm.
That's all I know. I didn't dig
American
too much.
writer?
American writer, yes.
Huh. I never heard. And I think the first time I heard your name several years ago, I was like, a black man named Inge.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard of that. Matter of fact, I never met anybody named Inge.
No.
No.
So where do you people hail from?
Scuba, Mississippi, and Wynn, Arkansas.
Scuba, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
You caught that, huh?
Yeah, scuba.
Like,
Scuba.
spelled just like scuba?
Scuba, yeah, just
Scuba,
just south of
Mississippi.
Meridian, Mississippi. Yeah.
Okay.
Never heard of Meridian either.
See,
so-
come on, you all need to travel a little
We
bit
need to
more.
get
You
out.
spend all
Right,
your time
right. That's what I'm
refereeing.
saying.
Man.
Right? And we've talked about going to other states.
Well,
and
talking
starting
about
to
it and doing it is not going to
officiating.
do it, okay?
I know, right?
So how'd you end up in Indiana coming from Mississippi?
Well, I didn't come from Mississippi. My parents did. My dad came from Scuba, Mississippi. My mother was Wynn, Arkansas. And,
My dad's from Arkansas.
okay.
Arkadelphia.
Arkadelphia, Arkansas.
See, that I
That's
never
kind of
heard
like
of.
scuba, Mississippi.
Yeah. So they came up here. My dad came here because of the jobs.
Okay.
And that was when Big Slater Steel
Yep.
was out there.
Yep.
He came for that.
Yep.
So, yeah, I always ask. I said, why did we move up here when it's cold?
Right?
And they said there was jobs. So I'm still stuck here. I keep saying I'm going to leave. I haven't left.
So where were you born?
I was born here in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Oh, okay. So they came here. You
Mhm.
were born here, and you've been here all your life.
All my
You're
life so
kind of
far.
like me. Something's wrong with us. We just
I-
stuck.
Yeah, and it is. And every time you say you're going to leave, something happens.
And you
Your
end up
kids
staying.
ain't having kids. You
Yes,
got
sir.
grandkids around, so you're stuck here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a grandkid, but our grandkid lives all the way out in Nevada. So we're like, maybe
don't
an
know if we-
option.
We don't know if we want to go live in Nevada.
I don't
though.
really think I want to live in
Oh,
Nevada.
man, I would. I love it. Isn't that where it's hot? That they got that?
No,
No.
not where he is. He's
They're in
Nevada.
Reno.
Reno.
Oh, okay, well then don't go.
And their weather is like ours. In
Yeah.
fact, they
Then
had
stay
worse
on.
weather, I think, this year than we did.
Just stay here.
But one
So-
thing Reggie likes, he said he likes to go up to the mountains.
Yeah.
So he's got mountains up there and he's got flatland.
Okay.
So it's a little different.
Okay.
So you ended up in you're born and raised in Fort Wayne. And tell us about your school, your education, what you came through.
Okay. My schooling is all Lutheran schools.
Hmm. We got some stuff in common.
Okay. Yeah.
I was raised
Some.
in some.
Because
Okay.
then you ended up going to public school.
I
so.
did.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with public school.
Well.
Depends.
Well, okay.
Depends on what school you went
That's another whole podcast.
to. No,
okay?
my schools were fine. I was fine. So tell us
Yeah.
about your
It was Concordia Lutheran Middle School.
Okay.
We went through all of that. Then you automatically went to Concordia High School.
Mhm.
You just followed the Lutherans right into the high school.
Yeah.
Then IPFW, trying to get on the police department. And then after right out of high school, right onto the police department. But I had to wait till I was 21. So that was just working and taking some classes at IPFW, which is Purdue Fort Wayne now.
Right.
I always wondered though, what made you? I know other people too. What made you want to get onto the police force, especially back then? When did you join the police force?
Oh, man, that was a long time ago. In the
Yeah.
80s. Back in the 80s.
80s.
Afros and bell bottoms. We all
Right.
had them, yeah.
Right.
Well, here, the truth of the matter is I grew up in I'm going to say a bad neighborhood. I didn't know it was bad until after I moved out.
Where'd you grow up?
Right over off of Anthony and Maumee area. You probably-
Yeah, because I grew up around Weiser Park.
Okay, so we would always go to Weiser Park and play basketball.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's where you played.
Yeah, pretty much.
So-
That or McCulloch.
McCulloch Park, right.
Yeah.
So I'd watch the police roll in all the time, and they'd chase the guys playing dice. And I always thought it was kind of neat to see that. But I think the thing that really got me was just the sound of their leather jackets and the keys hanging on their belt. As a kid, I'm standing there watching them walk by, and they seem like, just
He's
warriors.
like, I just want that jacket
Yeah.
and those keys
Yeah.
to be jiggling. I'll be somebody.
You're laughing. That's true.
As a kid, that's what you're
right.
thinking. You're
Yeah.
like, man, that looks tough. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and that's always stuck in my head as a kid. I said, I want to do that one day, and had no clue how to get to it.
Yeah.
I remember one time at a Concordia basketball game. I think it was like a double hitter or something. We played, and there was a policeman standing down there, and I told my mother, I said, I'm going to go down and talk to him and ask him how did he get on the department. Sure enough, that guy, he told me, he says, you don't want it. He said, this is a terrible job. You want to go find something else to do.
Now, was he a
Wow.
black police officer as well, or?
No, he was a white guy.
And he told you,
He told me that, no, you don't want to be a policeman. Yeah, go find something to be a doctor or a lawyer or something.
Wow.
At least he didn't tell me something worse, but
right.
I went back up kind of, dejected, and my
Yeah.
mother said to me, she says, well, you need to go back down and ask him why is he still doing it.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what was going through my head.
Right.
And I never did. I stuck with it. I said, no, I'm gonna stay with it. And I did. As a kid, I always thought that's what I wanted to do.
So even though he told you negative, you still stuck with
yeah.
it and wanted to be it.
Well, I listened to my mother. I knew what my mother was telling me. Said
So-
if it was that bad, he wouldn't be still doing
Right.
it. Yeah.
So then,
That's a good point.
when you became a police officer, was it as bad as he said it was?
No. Oh no, oh my goodness. No, I enjoyed every day of it. Would you have some bad things happen that you saw and did? Yeah, but overall, And while on the police department, I tried to do every division, every area on the police department I possibly could, and I did every one of them.
Wow.
But I could not, I don't want to say get into robbery homicide. They knew that along the way I was coaching. And they knew that I wouldn't take a pager and get paged out in the middle of a game. But they said, we're going to offer it to you anyway. We're just waiting for you to tell us no.
Oh, okay.
And I said, I'm going to say no. And I said, hey, I appreciate the offer, but I did everything. I did everything I possibly could. And I
You
wanted
did
to learn.
SWAT?
Did SWAT. Yeah, I was a
Really?
SWAT guy.
Wow.
See,
I thought they got paged.
they did. I loved it so much I did it anyway. I took my chances on, hey, if I was at a game, just in case, that kind of thing.
Might
But
have to
yeah,
leave. Yeah.
it was fun. I loved the training.
Okay.
I loved the camaraderie. I loved the teamwork. I loved it all. And I did.
So when did you retire from the police force?
2009 is
Okay.
when I finally left.
Now, I got to ask, the guy that told you that negative stuff, did you ever meet him
Yeah,
while you
I
were in the
did.
force? Wow.
I sure did.
Did you get a chance to talk to him about it?
I never brought that up, but I
Okay.
knew it was him.
Okay.
He was a detective when I got on, and I'm looking at him thinking, that's that dude right there.
And he's by
Yeah.
then he's
He-
made a detective.
Yeah, he was in a uniform then, but then he made it as a detective.
Yeah, so
I'm
he's
looking at him
plain
thinking, you know what? But here's the weird part. Here's the funny part. I ended up coaching his granddaughter in basketball.
Oh wow. Oh, wow. And we probably ref that game too.
I don't know.
Wow.
I'll never forget
Man,
it.
that's a story.
Yeah.
So when did you get into coaching?
Okay. Right out of high school.
Okay.
I just turned 18, got married. Right out of high school, I was going to my wife's church, and we would go watch some of the basketball games.
Mm-hmm.
And we're watching this one guy. His name is Ken Hebel. He was the basketball coach for the boys and the girls' 8th grade team.
Okay.
So, I mean, he would do back-to-back games. And I'm sitting there watching the thing. I said, that guy needs some help. I didn't know anything about coaching. I knew I had some good coaches growing up. So one day, finally, I asked him, I said, do you need any help? He said, if you could help me out, I'd appreciate it. So I helped him out. And then he got to the point, he says, why don't you just go ahead and take the girls, and I'll take the guys. And I said, well, fine, I'll do that. And it started then. He probably looking back now, if he ever hears this and says, what a mistake he made. Because, I mean, who did I have to really look at thinking what a coach was? I knew I had my grade school coaches. I had some great coaches back then. And I just saw one Sunday in church, Richard Redmond. And I always tell my grandkids, I said, this guy right here taught me how to catch a football. And we won every game. He showed me how to catch a football, and we won every game. But in basketball, I had some great coaches, but it was Bobby Knight. And I always thought, well, that's how you need to be, all that yelling and screaming and carrying on. And that's what I thought I was supposed to do. And at 18, 19, 20 years old, I thought I was the guy. Until my pastor told me, he pulled me aside after game. He said, listen, he said, they didn't come here to see you. They came to see the girls. And that day changed a whole lot in my life right then. I said, okay. That's all he said to me. He didn't lecture me any at all. And he passed away here about 3 years ago. And I was at his house talking to him. I said, you remember what you said to me one day in basketball? And I told him what he said. He says, I don't remember that. I said, but you said that to me. And I said, that had a huge impact on me and the way I went forward from that point on.
About when, you remember about when that happened, when you went through that change?
I had to be about, remember I told you, I got married when I was 18. And I had to be about 20 years old.
Because I remember, I don't remember the exact time that we met, but I remember when I first met you when you were coaching.
Was I in the middle school or was I in high school?
I can't remember. It might have been high school. I wasn't crazy about your coaching antics.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I've been repping almost 30 years, but I remember that, and I was like, I do not like that guy as a coach.
You're probably right.
But you know what, though? What you brought up to me, man, in my mind as you were telling that story is I'm thinking about all the coaches we've had who have that Bobby Knight mentality. And I always tell, I said, they really think that that's the way they're supposed to coach, is to yell at the officials the whole time, or to show their rumps. And we just look at them like, you're not going to do anything but alienate us.
Yeah.
But, and we saw that.
Yeah.
You know, and I knew that, and I remember you guys when you were refereeing. And it wasn't until I got my official's license. And then once again, another thing in my life to change. I said, now I know the rules. And then I went out and officiated. I spent most of my time officiating at the McCracken camps down at Huntington. Because that was like during the summer, they have all those week-long camps with kids all day long.
When did you get your license? You remember by what year?
Oh, man. You really did.
I'm just curious.
No, I don't.
Okay.
But I've had it a long time.
You had it?
Do you still have
Still
it?
have
Still
it.
active?
Still active.
You think you got it 20 years ago?
I'd say probably.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it took me doing some games and reading the rules and understanding and figuring out you're not always in the right position. You don't always see it, but when you see it, you see it. And it's just a matter of calling it.
Right.
So then it made me understand the game better in situations, what I can and cannot do with the rules, and then use the rules to your advantage. But then also said, hey, I got to let up off of them, you know, and just focus on what I need to get done as a coach.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing I think I like to hear is when a coach just says, I got to, just focus on what I'm supposed to focus on. That always amazes me when coaches think they can coach us. And I know in some of the pre-games I've told coaches, I say, all right, coaches, and I'll be talking to them in the pre-game like, okay, we're approachable, but we're not coachable. And I like to say that because I like to let people know. And I had a coach recently, and I said, Coach, you need to stop coaching me and coach your team. He said, I'm not coaching you. I'm just telling you what you need to look for. I said, Coach, there you go again. Tell me what I need to look for. I don't need
is
you.
coaching me.
It's coaching me.
Yes.
Oh,
and I've never, we coached a little bit. She did more coaching than I did. We coached our daughter's team together one time. And
For AAU.
And I remember she was the head coach. I was the assistant at Speece.
Oh, boy.
The ref, I knew the ref.
Yeah, we knew the refs.
And I stood up as the assistant and said something to him. He looked at me and said, you sit down and shut up. And I looked at him like, did you just tell me to sit down? And Tanya goes, you're the assistant. Oh, shoot. Because assistants are not supposed to talk to the refs.
Yeah.
Right, which a lot of, and it's kind of funny that even now, even head coaches still don't know that, at the high school and below, we don't talk to assistants.
Yeah.
That's, we talk to the head coach and the head coach only. Now, above that, when we get into college and stuff like that, we will talk to assistants as long as they're talking to us respectfully.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, you need to get your bench under control, and if you can't control them, then the ultimate is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And it amazes me that a number of coaches don't know the rules that you know because you studied them and went through officiating.
right.
Oh, yeah.
It amazes me that coaches don't know basic rules. I just look at them like, you don't know that rule?
I think coaches should have to get their license
Right.
and officiate games.
I agree.
So that they
I agree.
understand that, hey, we're not going to see it all, and there are certain situations where we're not going to call everything. If your team is superior to this team and this team does a little bit of a travel, we're probably not going to call it as much as we would on a team that is obviously more skilled.
I'm not going to.
Especially if you're up by 20, 25, 30
There's
points.
no reason.
What are we doing?
And what are the kids learning?
Right.
Well, I agree with that a little bit.
Right.
I knew the look on his face.
I know.
Come on, give it to us.
Here's always my thing. you've got all week to practice.
Mm-hmm.
You got all week to put your best 5 on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay? And with the officials out there doing what they're supposed to do, just call the game. It is not my fault that your team can't dribble. It's not my fault they can't put the ball in the basket.
Mm-hmm.
But these girls worked hard all week to get this opportunity. And what I always yelled about was, don't feel sorry for them. Don't help them to stay in the game. That's not your job. You say, hey, don't coach us. We don't coach you, whatever. The same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just call it the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say the good officials, when the game is over, I never even knew they were there.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like the game just flowed. But when you can obviously see, they go, oh, well, you can take a beating because you're a big girl. The post players, they take the biggest beating of all.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, they take it from everybody.
That's true.
And they get pushed and shoved. You touch a guard out there dribbling the ball, and every whistle in the place will blow.
Right.
And it's like, now, wait a minute. It's the same thing that happened down here. So in my mind, and I hear what you're saying, your 5 is against my best 5. Your job is just to remember what the rule is. If you're going to call that touch right there, you better call that touch down there. Not because you 6'5" and hey, look, no. I mean, look at your big guy at Purdue. That man come out here, scraped, and beat all up on every shot.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's their job to call it. So, do I understand what you're saying? Yes. Do I agree with it 100%? No.
Now I went from travel to he went to fouls.
Well, travel too.
I was just talking about the little
Okay,
little
but-
travel.
okay.
I wasn't saying I wasn't going to call fouls.
No, wait, no, see, wait a
He's
minute. Wait,
retracting.
no, I'm not retracting that. Because what ended up happening is that kid travels and then throws up a 3 and scores and everybody jumps. And I'm thinking, now, if you would have called a
That's
travel,
the
he
only
wouldn't have got
three
the
they scored the
I don't
whole
care.
night.
I don't care.
He said he doesn't care.
No.
See, he's a ref, but he's more of the C word. He's
He's
more of a
definitely
coach.
Well,
That's
bit of
definitely in
both.
his blood.
But you know what? One philosophy that we teach in our school, and I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I always tell new ref students, your job as an official is to make sure each team has an equal opportunity to win the game.
Right.
So if I'm making sure that each team has an equal opportunity to win the game, and this team over here is far inferior to your team, and you guys are up by 35, and now you've put your bench in, there's really no reason for me to call a travel on that team if she takes 3 steps, throws up a 3, and it goes, well,
Now,
let me finish. She takes 3 steps, it goes up, and let's say you guys are up 33-0.
Mm-hmm.
She takes 3 steps, I don't call it, she throws up a 3, it goes in, they end up losing 62-5. I don't see a problem there. Please give me feedback.
No, hold on. And you said that you want to, you want to know that we weren't even there. So if in that situation, we're blowing our whistle every time they travel,
You're
or
gonna know
every
we're
time,
there.
Yeah, you're gonna know that we're there.
You're gonna be like,
and
man, this game is taking too long.
and it shouldn't take
Just
that
get
long.
the game over with. We
Right.
already
So-
won it.
Right.
And then you have seriously, a lot of winning coaches have that attitude.
Right.
And it's kind of like, just let the game flow.
We do want to let it get into a flow, and
Yeah.
we want to allow the kids to, perform and do their best. So go ahead.
No, but
Because
seriously,
he is holding his.
he is.
He's holding his tongue.
But that is a difficult situation.
It is.
What you're describing, because
It's
because
tough.
people have different opinions.
Yeah.
And so what do we do?
Right. I get that. But if you said you want to be equal for both teams.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay. What was that philosophy you said?
My philosophy is my job is to make sure each team has an equal opportunity to win the game.
An equal opportunity to win the game.
If you guys have already won the game,
right. The game's not over until the clock sounds. Okay.
Come on now. If you guys have
no,
beaten
win
the
or
team
lose,
65-2
win or lose is not over.
with 3 minutes to go.
The win or lose is not over. Okay.
He is not going to let
It's
me
not
win
an
this.
equal opportunity for you to give a team the advantage to stay close, to maybe win, to get some buckets.
Did you
No.
hear what I said the score was, sir?
I don't care. I don't, because in the locker room before the game, I told him, I said, we're going to hold them to 0. Okay. And that's my job. We worked on defense all week long. You better show we worked on it. All right. And that's it.
Well, then you got a ref that's going to make sure that don't happen.
It's one of you two.
Well,
no, wait a minute. Your daughter too. Now.
No, but you're bringing up a good point, because I've talked to other coaches about that, and it's a great discussion point, I think, because you're right. Should the ref intervene? And I guess you're really, to me, you're more a coach than a ref.
Mm-hmm.
That's just to me. I'm more of a kid developer than a ref. So if I see this team over here obviously going to lose the game, but I can help little Susie's or little Bobby's self-esteem, and they might travel a little bit, so what? And then down at this end, if your team travels a little bit or something, I'll probably balance it and not call it there too. I usually try to, if I do something for this team, I'll usually do something for this team. People can call that cheating. They can call it what they want, but I'm looking at it in terms of these kids need a good experience. They're going to lose the game, obviously, but at least I want them to come back loving the sport or loving competition, even if they lose. Because to me, that's losing with dignity. That's just the way I look at it. I could be wrong.
I would put that on the coaches.
Okay.
I would put that on the coaches to make sure that it doesn't happen. I put it on the coaches to say, hey, we're not going to press. We're going to make so many number of passes. Okay. We're going to play solid defense. We won't fast break. That's the coach to make that happen.
But I can't control the coaches.
Right.
I get that, but I still think that the referee should just do their job in what the book says. Just do what you're supposed to do. Let the coaches decide on, hey, how are we going to make this thing flow evenly or back and forth? Because what tends to happen is what you just said. All of a sudden, the good team will travel. You'll forget about it and say, well, you should know not to travel, so I'm going to call that.
No,
okay?
I don't call it
happens.
I don't call it with that attitude, though.
I know, but it happens, and we see it happen.
But if I call it on a good team, I'm going to probably go up and say, you know why I called that? And they'll be like, yeah, what you do? I'm a kid developer, so I'm going to go up and talk to the kid. And I'll probably I'll be like, look, coach, y'all killing the team. I know you probably didn't like that call. Man, and I remember you.
Here go one of them.
Yeah. He would be all over me.
Well, he would.
Oh, yeah.
You're probably right. You're
Yeah.
probably absolutely right. And remember, it took years. I think what most people think is the minute you say, I'm a coach, you know it all.
No.
You don't. It took years. Remember, I started when I was 18 years old.
Sir. Yes,
and
sir.
it took years for me to understand every angle of the game, from a parent, from a coach,
yes, sir.
From a fan.
Yes,
From
sir.
a past player.
Yeah,
Yes,
it took everything for me to learn the game. So just because someone says they're a coach, they're gonna make every mistake in the book. And where I'm coaching at now, I'm the assistant, which I said I don't want to be a head coach anymore. I can't do it. And you know how much work goes into being a head coach.
And time.
And you're really doing all three teams. You're the varsity, JV, and the freshman, and
Yes,
you're
sir.
still recruiting, okay?
Yes, sir.
And then you're still looking at your middle school.
You've got
to build
right.
that.
And if you're at Concordia, you've got a lot of middle schools you got to look at. So you got to do all that summer stuff and that spring stuff. So you got all that going on. So it takes years for you to get to really be one of those coaches that's been around a long time that really understands the X's and O's, who really understand developing people, who really understand relationships with the parents and the ADs and the officials. It takes a lot of time.
I agree.
And will you make mistakes? Sure. And I know the two of you, tons of them. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you all ever have me on your podcast after how much of an idiot I was back then? And I can see it. But I can see it. I go, man, I had to grow to understand the game.
But
Grow to understand.
We've had to grow as well.
Reason, this growth. Because, like she said, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we've had to grow over the years, too.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, he's been officiating 30-plus years. I've been doing it over 18 now.
Okay.
So, we've all grown. We've all matured.
Yeah.
And hopefully we've matured to the point that we can sit down and talk.
And that's exactly where we're at here today. Because take a guess, how many years were you officiating?
What do you mean?
I mean, when did you start? Do you remember? And how many years you have under your belt now?
Yeah,
30 years.
It's over 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but I think it's 31 or 32 somewhere in there.
Okay, and I'm close to 40.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
And that's coming right out of high school.
Yeah.
And I can tell you right now, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, I didn't.
But what we did, we went to a lot of clinics. We went, Nike camps and everything.
Yes,
we did it all. But the officiating part came later when I said, I got to figure out what it is I don't know.
Right.
And I enjoyed it. And I agree 100% with you. Every coach should have to have their official's license. Every coach should have to officiate to understand what it takes. I believe that. So,
because I think it's humbling. I think
yes.
as a coach, you realize that we are human, that we are not going to see everything, that we are, we're going to miss things. We're not going to be in position.
And also, I don't care who wins.
And we don't care who wins.
A lot of coaches think I'm out to get them. I'm like, coach, it amazes me when I go somewhere I've never been and they say I'm cheating.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know where I am.
A homer. What?
You had to use your GPS to get
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't even know where the school is.
Yeah,
What are you talking
AAU
about?
people come in, these refs are cheating. I'm going, I don't even, every time we come down from Michigan, That's where you're from?
Didn't even know.
I didn't even know.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I think people get really, really caught up in their emotions when it comes to this emotional game called basketball.
They do. And I can see it. It happens.
Yeah.
Because you invest a lot of time and energy in it.
Yes.
And like I said.
And that's something, too. They don't realize how much time and energy we put in to officiating. There's a lot of us that we do go to camps, that we are in our rule books a lot, that we have group text messaging where we're talking to each other, sending out video of, hey, what do you think about this, this call or whatever. We're all growing and learning together. So
I wondered that.
I've got a question for you guys. Okay. I think we talked about, because we are always talking about the rules, like you said, and we enjoy it. I enjoy learning. I'm like, I didn't know that. I've been 30-some years in this. I didn't know that rule. Yeah. So here's one I got for you, Cleveland. Okay. So a kid, let's say your player, there's a press on your team. She's dribbling from her backcourt into her front court.
Gotcha.
She catches the ball inbound. She turns. She gets confused because of the press. Next thing you know, she takes a couple of dribbles. She shoots the ball at her own basket, and it hits the side of the backboard, comes back to her. She gains control and dribbles and goes up court. Is there a violation that occurred or not?
No.
Okay. What do you say? I thought you knew the answer to that. Did we talk about?
No, we didn't talk about
it. Okay,
I found you sent it out, but I didn't.
I sent it out to our team because it's one of our.
Now wait, so you said she shot at her own basket.
Yeah, she's going this way. This is half court. This is her basket. They take the ball out here. She inbounds it here. There's a press on her. She's supposed to be shooting at this basket, but instead she gets confused, takes a couple dribbles, shoots at this basket, hits the side of the backboard.
I would say it's a double dribble.
Okay, and you say it's nothing.
There's nothing. She just missed a shot.
Okay.
There's a shot
But it's not at her basket.
It's not at her basket. That's the key. I didn't know that either, but it's not at her basket.
It's not at the basket she should be shooting at. She should be shooting down here.
Right. So if it hits, here's the rule. If it hits the side of the back, if it hits the rim, I think it's different if it hits the rim. I haven't found that part, but if it hits the backboard, it's a double dribble because that's a dribble. That counts as a dribble. Well, she catches the ball and dribbles again. That's a double dribble.
Really?
It's a strange rule, but it's in the rule book, and it's little things like that that a lot of people get confused on, and a coach would lose their mind.
Oh yeah,
because they don't know the rule.
Right.
I didn't know that rule, and one of our guys who came in Tom came through the school about 4 years ago.
4 or 5.
And Tom is always challenging us. So he calls me up, Crane, I got this rule for you. I was like, okay, what you got, Tom? And he said, I had that happen. I said, what'd you call? He said, nothing. Then I looked it up later, and it's a double dribble. I was like, are you sure? He goes, look it up. So I found it. I was like, oh my gosh. 30-year vet, and I would have messed that up.
Well, what if it would have hit just the regular side of the backboard?
It did hit the right side of the backboard.
No, I mean, if it would hit the front, here? No, the front where the rim is at, not on the side.
Doesn't matter. If backboard. I was just telling
if
where
it hits the rim, she's okay.
I don't think so. I think it's the same thing.
I don't know. I think we better look that.
I think I have to look that one up because
you shoot at the wrong basket. Well, I've seen girls shoot at the wrong basket.
Actually,
and get it back.
we had it at Concordia, I think.
Did you guys call me?
No.
Where the girl shot at the wrong basket.
I think we had that in a Concordia game.
It was
and we should have had a double dribble.
And you were on that game?
But I don't remember if she got the rebound or did someone else get it.
It doesn't matter. Well, it would matter if it's another teammate.
If another teammate, it wouldn't be a dribble.
Correct.
Okay. Correct. But it did. It happened. Yeah.
Strange rules, man. I mean, and we challenge people.
Man, I'm gonna have to go back and look at that.
I know. I know. You gonna go back and look at the game?
I always wondered, did you guys ever look at game film?
Oh,
like coaches do.
Yeah.
All the time.
Since it's on huddle and everything.
All the time. Especially if we go home. Like if I come home and say, man, I had this game down in West Noble and such happened. I got to look at that rule. It's been bothering me. Sometimes we'll be talking and 3 or 4 days later, we'll be like, man, that rule still bothering me. I mean, that play still bothering me. Just like coaches do. But it's like what she said. Those of us that are conscientious and want to get better, we're always challenging each other. And it's a blessing for us because we got 3 refs in the same family.
Right,
so we'll call each other, text each other, hey, I got this situation. What do you think? And then we'll challenge each other. Did you look it up? Well, no. Well, you look it up. I'll look it up. We'll come back together. So, we do that because we just love learning and we love getting better. And between us, we want to get every call right.
Oh, yeah.
Can we do that?
Which we know we're not going to do.
Because the rules, man, people don't understand, like that rule. And people say, why is that? I've forgotten the reason, but you can't that if you shoot your own basket, that counts, like you said, I think as a dribble.
Yeah.
So do you know that so I had this happen. Well, we had this happen last week. I had a AD email me, confirmation that we were going to be at this game, and he says, by the way, we're gonna wear our black uniforms, and the visiting team is going to wear white.
Okay.
I said, okay. Did we get that approved through the IHSAA?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if it has to be approved through the IHSAA?
I think the home team can decide if they want to wear their darker white uniforms. I don't think it has to be approved.
Has to be approved.
It has to be approved.
Okay.
And the only reason I knew it was because when he emailed me that, I thought, now I know that they have to be approved if they want to wear like an odd color like pink.
Pink, yeah, I knew that part, yeah.
They have to have it approved.
Yeah.
I wasn't 100% sure on if they choose to wear their away jerseys on a home game. So I was like, well, did you get that approved? I mean, and I was just asking in general because I didn't want to show up and be like, that's a violation.
Because the only way you caught it because he sent out an email.
Because he sent out the email.
Informing us.
So the beautiful thing was that I was able to communicate with him, and then on top of it, I started communicating with the IHSAA.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, I just want to verify the ruling because I don't want to show up and have to penalize this team for something that they didn't know and we didn't know. And so the AD is like, well, I'm pretty sure we get one a year. Like we can, we get one a year where we can choose our uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is true. You do get one a year, but it has to be approved through the IHSAA.
Okay.
No matter what that is, that you want to wear your dark uniforms, that you want to wear pink, whatever it has to be approved through the IHSAA. So in doing that, I'm like, look, I'm not trying to cause problems. I just want to make sure that none of us are in violation. I don't want to end up on the Facebook podcast, where we made this mistake.
Right.
Because we make it on Facebook every now and then. And so in doing so, he was able to get in touch with the IHSAA and get that approved. And so when we all showed up, because it was a nice game to end on for my season. So my husband and our daughter got to, we worked together, our last boys varsity game of the season. So, well, ours. He's got a sectional next week, but
Mr. Big Shot.
Mr. Big
there.
Shot.
Yeah.
So
ain't that critical?
So anyway, when we showed up at the game, the AD comes up. He's like, "Oh, thank you, because that really saved me." And I was like, "Look, I wasn't trying to cause problems. I just wanted to make sure that we were all, covering our bases." And so he got it approved, and it was all good to go.
I know we're running short on time, but I want to know, what would the violation be?
So technically, they're in violation because they don't have the approval.
Mm-hmm.
So we could actually start the game with a technical.
Okay.
However, when I was talking to the IHSAA, he was like, well, I really don't want to, we don't want to start the game off that way, which I didn't want to start off the game that way. And so
he pretty much had to give the approval, even though it was late notice.
Yeah, he had to give the approval
because he didn't want to start with the technical.
Yeah. And because they're in uniform violation.
But it doesn't answer his question. His question is, what would be the penalty? Because
it'd be a technical.
But would it be on each player each time they came in?
No. It'd be one technical.
One technical for the entire team.
For the entire team.
And that's the rule. When you have a violation on a uniform, then it's one tech for the whole team. Yeah.
But none of us wanted to start that game out that way. And it was their last game. It was their senior night. Nobody wants to start off that way. So I was so glad that he at least had emailed that information and that we were able to get it rectified prior to the game. And so
now, before we cut off, I got one question, another rule question for you, because I like this. So I was watching this video on a last second shot. I think it was like a 0.1 left on the clock, and it was tied up. It was a video. I mean, it was a game, high school game, and the ball was being inbounded. So the rim was here. The ball was being inbounded from, I think, right here. Somehow, and the kid threw the ball up. A defender was here. Offense was here. Threw the ball up to him. The defender jumped up and tapped it to keep it away from him. But it went up here, bounced on the backboard, bounced on the rim against the backboard, and fell in. Good basket or no?
It's a good basket.
Okay. What do you think?
No.
Not a good basket.
Even though he touched it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because it goes back to kind of like the other situation with the young lady, defense cannot tap the ball in to their own basket.
Into the other team's basket.
Well, they're defending their basket because the defense was down here. It was second half. Defending team was here, so they're defending. No, they're shooting.
So the defender.
I'm sorry, the defender was down here from this team. But anyway, they were guarding this basket, and the home team was trying to score. Or the home team was trying to score in here. So
but I think it was also because it was an inbound situation.
I think it's because that changed.
So there are different factors there.
Different rules when it's inbounded versus. Now you're right. If it was just regular gameplay, and they had tapped it in, then the basket would count. And then that's another question. If the regular gameplay and a defender taps the ball in, who do they credit the point to on the offensive team? They changed that rule.
I have no clue.
They don't. They don't
just give it to one person. They just give it to the team.
They used to give it to the team, the player that was nearer to the player.
Yeah.
No,
now
they
it's
just give it to the team.
They just they if there's a section down here at the end or in the comment section, they just write 2 points or 3 points, whatever it is.
Well, that one will start a riot.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it did because after the game, the official over here who was at C, he counted the basket. He clearly did like this to end time, and then he did like that. Yeah. And then they had a discussion. So the coach down here came, the game was over supposedly. Yeah. They came down after the game. They're talking about it. They were there for like 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. I'm watching this. Yeah. And then they walked off the court, turned around and said, "Game over, count the back." And I knew one of the officials, the tall one. I knew him, and they counted it. These are the kind of plays that on our website. Is it our website?
No, it's on Facebook.
Facebook. In the association here in town, plays like that, the association chair will put those online, and we discuss them. Yeah. And like she was talking about earlier, it humbles you. Oh yeah. Because I was on Facebook last year, and I had a controversial game, and we had about 4 or 5 different plays that the whole association was talking about. I made it on there a couple
times this year. So I don't know, but our Concordia game might have made it on there.
Yeah. For that. The one with the but she didn't. I don't think she scored.
She didn't score. She
shot it.
She shot it and then grabbed it and dribbled. Okay. And I think we should have had a double dribble on that one. Well, so I think that one made it on there. I'll have to go back and
look. If a player shoots the ball, she's fading away. She shoots the ball. It falls short. She sees it fall short. She runs after it, grabs it, and dribbles out to the other side. Violation or nothing?
Wow. She's shooting at the wrong basket?
No, she's shooting at the right basket.
I'm asking you. I'm asking him.
If it's an honest shot attempt, and the officials believe she was trying to make it and not pass it, it's a judgment call. So they can say, okay, she actually shot that and was the only one to get a rebound.
Do you think you're right or you think you're wrong?
I know I'm right.
I know I'm right.
Yeah, I think I yelled at you about one of those.
Yeah, you did. Probably.
Well, that may have been before the rule changed.
Don't tell me the rule changed on this one.
Man, there's been so many rules changes.
Yeah, I get the little things all the time.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and then they have the points of emphasis. Yeah. Things like
our mechanics.
Oh, well, that points of emphasis to me doesn't.
Yeah, the mechanic changed this year, so charge call is it's going back to this. Yeah. It used to be this. Yeah. They changed it because I think they was afraid we were going to knock a player out.
Yeah, they took the punch out. They took the punch out. I saw that.
In college, we still do it. Women's college is still there. But, yeah, you're right on that. That rule, she shoots the ball if it's a legitimate shot attempt. Yeah. That is the ruling in the book. It has to be a legitimate shot attempt in the judgment of the official.
Right, right. Yeah.
Then it's a live ball. People yell, "As error, she can't do this." You don't know.
Well, unfortunately,
before you
got to wrap up.
I know I get that, but then what about the players who take the ball, throw it up in the air, it bounces on the floor, then they run and grab it and dunk it in? That was not a shot attempt. They're setting themselves up for a dunk. Yeah. They toss it off the backboard and they go and dunk it?
Yeah, but the difference is they don't come back down to the ground. If they go up and catch it in the air and dunk it, or off the backboard.
And I knew the answer. I just wanted to see if you knew.
Yeah, because that travel. I'm gonna tell you another one. Then we got to go. That spin move that a lot of kids.
Oh,
do.
that's a travel. Oh yeah, I see it every time.
Because people don't understand when you pick the ball up and you lift your pivot foot, it cannot come back down to the floor.
That's right.
I debate sometimes if I'm gonna call that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. Right. And people wonder because it's a travel, But the reason I stopped calling it, to be honest, is a lot of my official partners didn't want to work with me anymore because they say you can't call that because people come apart. And I'm going, but it's the rule.
It's the rule.
Right.
And so you made a point earlier about, we need to call it all. But you got to understand, one of our trainers I won't say his name, but he said one time, he said, sometimes you just got to throw that rule book out the window because the flow of the game has to be honored.
Yeah. Now that I can agree with that.
And that's what I meant when I was talking about the kids game earlier. The flow of the game has to be honored.
Yes.
Because people don't come to see us blow our whistles.
No, they don't.
Come to see the kids play.
And that's when I said, it's like you're not even there.
Yep.
No one will remember you.
Yeah.
And that's not what you're there for.
Yep. Okay.
Well, I expected you all to get beat up on me a little bit more than that.
I told you it was going to be laid back.
No. When we started this show, we wanted to bring on people from every aspect of sports. Coaching, reffing, fan, cheerleaders. We
haven't had any fans on yet.
But we will.
We're working on that.
But everybody's a fan of the game that's come on, to be honest.
Yes.
We're all fans.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, get an AD on here. Get an AD.
We have had an AD on.
Oh, okay.
I think we have had an AD. I know we have.
No.
Right. You got to get John Bennett from Bishop Dwenger.
Now, you're coaching at?
I'm at Concordia now, just an assistant with
but you
coach.
were head coach at Dwenger.
Head coach at Dwenger. Yeah, I had a great time there. I had a really good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going from there to Concordia to me is about the same thing. Yeah, same kids, same atmosphere, same feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
So to wrap up, remember to go to reftrainingschool.com so that you can become someone in the stripes.
Come on over to the dark side.
And also check out Hoosier3on3.com for the next
3 on 3.
That's right. What he said.
3 on
3. Our next tournament is coming up July 12th, and we will hold that at Turnstone. So get online. The registration is open for that. So look forward to seeing you guys soon. Thanks again for joining us.
And just another thing on that 3 on 3, guys, be aware that we are going to be working with the Three Rivers Festival. That will be the first day of Three Rivers Festival.
Yes, it's a Friday.
So, it'll be Hoosier. So you can go to Hoosier3on3.com, get your team signed up. You can have up to 4 players. It will be very, very exciting. And we're going to have a lot of fun out there. So look forward to seeing you guys out there. Again, Mr. Inge, thank you for joining us, man. We appreciate you coming out.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Maybe we can get you on again in the future.
I don't care. Call me.
All right. So
he's retired.
Yeah. So with that, I just want to say good night and
or good morning.
Good morning, or whenever you're watching this. And we'll see you next time. Take care. Thanks again for listening to RefTime, powered by RefTrainingschool.com and Hoosier3on3.com. Produced by Coraggio Media, RefTime is recorded in WELT Studios in beautiful downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana.
To join RTS, visit reftrainingschool.com. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Until next time.